and welcome back, Doodle crewmates, to another one-on-one artist interview. Today I am sitting down with the awesome Idaho, also known as WifflePossum. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. So I like to start off all of these with a very simple question of how did we meet?
Well, we both went to the art institutes. I think we started around the same time. Can't remember exactly, but as that group of artists that's in the animation department started hanging out, there was gaming involved. I do know that. I don't know if I was like exactly in your circle.
Yeah, like we were kind of yeah.
I was a bit of a social butterfly because I had friends who were design majors. I had photography major friends, VFX major friends, and gaming friends who were not you and Jesse and everybody.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't remember exactly when I know we were in class together. That's all.
Yep. Well, and it's tough too because even though there were so many of us and we were taking all the same classes, sometimes they were offered at different times and we wouldn't always sync up. And then depending on how many courses you took per quarter, sometimes that would put you out of sync with other people. And yeah, also there's a lot of that I don't remember because we were just working and drawing all the time. And
yeah,
I don't remember it all. But yeah, it was neat. And I think at a certain point then as people started to move further into the animation curriculum, some of them left to go to graphic design or switched over to game art. So I think as our circle got smaller, we definitely all started seeing each other a lot more.
True, yeah.
So yeah, so that answers my second question that I've been asking everybody is if you are an AIP alum. And yes, Idaho is another one of the amazing Art Institute of Pittsburgh people we have associated with Doodle Crew, which was not my intention when I was setting all of that up, but it has kind of been a funny byproduct. So I'm just leaning into it. But yeah, when it comes to you actually, obviously going to art school, how long have you personally been making art?
Let's see. If you go by the modern definition of art, Andy Warhol's definition, I'd say 39 years I've been making art. So, yeah, I have been making art since I could hold a pencil. My earliest memory of doodling and drawing was making video game characters. I would just sit and I'm pretty sure it was Mega Man first. It was either Mega Man or Boxers, you know, because there were always Nintendo things. But I did have my first my Nintendo Power magazine, and there was this contest to make the new bad guys for Mega Man 5 and submit them, and I made probably hundreds of them and learned to draw that way, you know, and that was like kindergarten or earlier. I can't even remember. I know I was in kindercare because I was at the very low tables. That's my earliest memory of making art.
Yeah, no, that's great. Oh my gosh, I used to religiously read PlayStation Magazine and always looking at the fan art in the back, never actually being bold enough to send it in myself, but I pined for it. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. Those people are so cool that they sent in their art. And now look at us doing art on the internet. Yeah. So as far as making art, for you right now, is art your primary job or your career, or do you do something else?
It is. I do design work. I try to keep myself as diverse as possible and learning new programs and learning different styles of art. Someone needs a commission to make a design for something, I'll research it. I do catalogs. Like I'll do InDesign work for companies as a contract worker. And because my job title, I've always considered myself a cartoonist. I know it doesn't always sell to everybody because that's a very broad definition, and people see that different ways as cartoons when it really is just a visual artist with a storyteller background. Because I have that in there too.
Yeah.
As I try to tell stories with my art, even if it's one picture, I want it to tell something. And So that's what I would. I always call myself as I'm a cartoonist.
I like it, and I think it's funny as I'm having these interviews and talking to different people who all of us do similar work, but we're also very diverse, and it is tough, I think, for everyone to figure out what to refer to ourselves as and how we make that marketable, especially if we're working in a number of different industries. So, but I love that storyteller element to that, and that's always something in the time that I've known you. It's always a part of you that I've known about, and I think that's very, very cool. So. Yeah, that's awesome. So in all of that broad spectrum stuff, and when it comes to the storytelling part, like how did you kind of get into your niche with that? Either what you were doing professionally or even more specifically what you were doing personally and finding the niche that fit you?
That is a good question because I feel like I keep redefining myself by what I am able to accomplish because it keeps changing. And whenever I first got into like art as a career, when I decided that I'm not going to be a music teacher, I'm going to be an artist, my first goal was to make a webcomic. And for years I drew and drew and drew webcomics, and I failed to launch any of them. Well, no, I launched a few of them, and it's not like I feel like they were unsuccessful, but they weren't popular. So I mean, they didn't get a following. I think the best that I've had success was working with other artists in back at the Art Institute. I was in a group called War for Arcadia, where online we were a group of artists online that participated in a collaborative comic drawing. We would each make a character, and we would take turns writing a story where our two characters meet or we fight. Usually we fight because it's like a tournament style. And after like 2 rounds, well, we each get one turn. The forum would vote on who won the battle, because we would always leave it open-ended, and then the winner would draw the epilogue where the winner gets a finishing move. And
that's really cool.
Yeah, we did it for several years, and we still keep in contact and do like Secret Santa every year. That's kind of our tradition, to come back and do fan art of each other and during Christmas.
Oh, I like that. Well, and I know something you mentioned on one of the streams that I had an absolute blast with you is one where we specifically focused on D&D, and you were saying that you were also going back through and drawing all the different D&D characters that you have played in your lifetime. And I thought that was so cool, because that was something where I was like, oh my gosh, like I've played a bunch, but I've forgotten some. And you have a much deeper well of characters. And I just thought that was such a neat thing. It fits so well with your style. Like it made so much sense, but also I was so impressed because you were taking it on top of everything else you were doing, because we're crazy people who are like, so we should just do more things, right?
Yeah, it's funny because when I started playing D&D, my draw was always to the bard, obviously, because I was a musician, I was an artist, I was a writer. I immediately took my journal and started writing down all of the sessions, all the jokes we made during during our games, and I would draw the characters, and I'd be like, I'd always have a stack of tomes or what a record of what I played. So just like 2 or 3 years ago, my style has changed dramatically. I've drawn my characters over the years, but I don't have like everybody. I wanted to challenge myself to draw every character I have, and I had a record of them, and I know what they are and what they look like. So I at least wanted a fully rendered picture of everybody in my cast, in my folio.
Yeah. No, but again, I think that it builds so perfectly in the, you being a storyteller and that part being so important to you, which I just think is really, really cool. So as far as all the different things you've done, either personal projects or that big group project, like, is there one specific project that you are really, really proud of, or one that you keep like going back to, be like, man, I just knocked it out of the park with that?
I have been thinking about this question, and I don't know if I've come up because I'm very I get down on myself a lot, like, and I think that I couldn't say what I'm most proud of because everything that I do, I have a tendency to leave behind me and go to the next project. So, yeah, this is one of the questions that I couldn't tell you honestly what I'm most proud of. Oh, no. No. Actually, I can.
Hey.
No, my wedding.
Oh.
It just occurred to me that that was probably the biggest project I've ever undertaken. Was when I got married. We had originally planned to do something traditional, and we had hired a caterer. And down the line, we started realizing that we're not traditional, and it was a fantasy themed wedding. She had her dress specially made because she wanted to be a silver dragon, and I wanted to be the Goblin King. So I had my sequenced green suit made, and I had the David Bowie wig. We hired a makeup artist, and I had my face made up like David Bowie in the Labyrinth. And just every part of it, we both had something that we put into this huge party. And like she made the wedding book is Winifred's spell book. I made a card box was the Bokoblin chest from Breath of the Wild.
Oh
I
my
learned how to use
gosh.
one of those hot knives to make
Yeah.
sculpt foam out of, and I sprayed it down. And like we had puzzles, we had I wrote an entire game based on like a tabletop game based on rolling dice and putting little things on potatoes, like decorating a potato and using that as your game piece.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And that was like a table activity for everybody during the wedding. I still have it somewhere. We wasted a lot of potatoes, but it was a grand old time.
No, and that is something so awesome and so special, and literally never heard anything like it, and that's fantastic.
But it was at a park. Our friend officiated us, and the ceremony was a musical that I wrote.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Well, I think that's a phenomenal answer. Just you knocked it out of the park with that. That is so cool. Oh, and just what an incredibly special memory to have for you and everybody who got to join and be there with you. That is so great. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. But I wanted to say something when you were saying your ability to move on to the next project is an incredibly valuable skill. And I think so many of us as artists can get hung up on either how a project turned out or how we are in the midst of it. And it can haunt us, it can stay with us, or it can hinder us from being able to move on. So the fact that you are able to be like, nope, that one's done. We're on to the next one. However I felt about it, whatever I'm doing, we're on to the next because I've got more to create. So I think there's value in that. Even if it, once in a while it's at the detriment of us ever being kind to ourselves or saying nice things about our art.
Absolutely. And I had to get there. I always have to get there every time where there's a point where I have to put it down and walk away. And it takes me a while. Sometimes I have a piece that I get into and it takes me 6 months to finish. But once that 6 months is finished, I put it down. There's nothing else I can do with it that I didn't plan on beyond this. So move on to the next thing. Even if it's not exactly how I wanted it, there's another project. You can try again the next time, and you're going to be better because you learn something from this.
1000%. Exactly that. No, that's awesome. I'm so happy you said that. So with all the different things that you do and all the different ways that you create, do you have a certain medium that you love, a medium that you love creating art in?
Uh, Constantly changing. I like different mediums, but digital right now is my favorite because I don't have to clean up anything. It,
Yep.
it's not just like a mess, but yeah, I mean you know, as an artist, cleanup is the most tedious part because whenever we're fast and loose with the sketches, you're gonna have to get in there with the eraser or penning it is also kind of an inexact science, but with the computer, it's very clean, and you don't even have to do it on the same. You can have another layer that you can bring up to redo it, and when you erase it, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, digital. As far as art goes, yeah, digital is my medium.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I've talked about it with one of the other artists from the interview series, saying that the amazing different ways that you can create art in the digital space there's so many, and there's not a wrong way to do it. And there are so many opportunities, so many different options, so many different ways you can create it, that I love it. It's so accessible. So along those lines, is there a medium that you have either worked in before or won't work in because it scares you? Is there one that intimidates you?
Oil.
Ooh, okay.
I have tried oil, and it was for the fact that my sister wanted me to do a painting of her children, and I said, you know what, I will give it a try. I'm not promising anything, and it's more than that. It's a challenging medium.
Very much so.
That they looked like horrifying porcelain dolls.
Oh no.
It literally scared me. I couldn't look at them. I don't know if it was just the difficulty of it, or that's what it brought out in me, because I mean, it's when you're using a medium in a certain, it kind of works itself, especially because that's all chemistry with the oil painting. It blends into ways you don't know what it's going to do, but it has that texture to it that's like very smooth and waxy, and yeah, that was fun though. I did definitely enjoy that, and pigments, especially like stuff like that. I probably, if I would have went the graphic design, sure, I definitely would be doing more painting now. But in the meantime, I'm just going to yell at Bob Ross and leave it to him to do it, because it's like,
yeah, he makes it look so easy, and I'm just like, Bob, my dude, like I'm gonna stick with my acrylics because oil is just too intimidating. But you make it look great.
I'll do it with the colored pencil, like number 2. Traditionally, Dixon Ticonderogas. I'll always have these. Eraser is perfect. Lead is a perfect consistency. The wood smells amazing. I don't know what they use. I think it's pine.
Yeah, no, it really does. It's such a weird thing, but I knew exactly what you meant.
It's weird. but nothing smells better. It's like, it's better than an old book to me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like a fresh pack of pencils. Like, oh my gosh, when the eraser's still good and all of that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. So kind of along those lines, when you're finding different mediums or doing in different work, is there something specific that you use to help you get through an art slump, or is it a different mindset? Like, how do you work through that when you are struggling with your art?
It's a good question. And there's 2 answers to that. One is I let my muse take me where it wants to take me at all times. If I'm working on a piece and I'm tensely in it and I get stuck at a certain point, I am typically flipping genres here. I have been working for a long time on my YouTube channel. I've mentioned it before. I'm writing a kind of a gaming slash storytelling animated channel for YouTube. And I got to the point where I am recording and in the process of keyframing, and I keep recording the dialogue over and over again because I don't like how I sound. And I listen to other people, and it's not like I sound weird, because a lot of people on YouTube sound weird and they still put themselves out there, and it kind of is appealing in that regard, because it's like, oh, these people sound like interesting. They don't sound like standard voice it's just kind of droning.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have a certain voice for my character that I want to portray. He's a goblin, and he has kind of a Brooklyn Bronx accent. I guess I want to do Bugs Bunny, but it's just the WifflePossum is there. My wife is doing the voice for her, and she's like, "Hi, I'm WifflePossum." Huh?
I love that.
They're kind of like a duo that are doing like a talk show kind of thing, and I was thinking of doing interviews with other characters of people that come in and do storytelling for like D&D experiences and such. But okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Well,
But
and I
art
think
slump. Oh, art
yeah,
slump. Yeah, I kind of we were talking about art slump. All right. I started writing whenever I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere, and I started writing a world, like a basic world. There's a genesis story and how each race came to be and such. So I mean, it's getting. That's where my muse has me right now. That's where I'm going to be most productive. So I will get back to what I was doing. It's not done yet. I just want my muse to be there.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's cool when you're working on something like that. And I know that there can be a lot of freedom in researching something new, because I think it's obviously working a different part of your brain, and you are bringing in information instead of just outpouring stuff for what you're creating. And I think that helps a ton. And I think being able to, in a weird way, still be productive and still get stuff done, even if it's not the specific thing that you need to be or want to be doing right at that moment. Like if you're able to, work on your language or work on your voice acting, like you are still moving, even if it feels lateral movement.
Yeah. You can cut that down. That was kind of...
No, you're good. It's honest. And I, as someone who has now become a podcaster and who spends more time talking and then therefore listening to how my voice sounds, it took me a bit to get comfortable with it. And, I would listen to the podcast I'm on like a faster speed, and I'd listen to my laugh and I was like, oh my gosh, I sound like a crazy chipmunk. And so, I could be very hard on myself, but it was one of those where I was so excited about the project. I'm so excited to the people that I'm working with that I'm going to push through being uncomfortable with my voice or being uncomfortable on camera, because the work is more important. Like I'm more excited about this project. I want it to happen. So I'm going to try and work through, any of those things that might be holding me back. And I think that's important. So, yeah.
And I had said that there's a two-part to that question, because two sides. It is what happens when the project is the problem, and the other one is what happens when the inspiration is the problem. Whenever I'm sure everybody was here last year in a mad state of depression because of the state of the world and being stuck inside. And I was not doing much with my work at the time. And it was rough, because that's kind of what I do to build up myself and get my energy, get my spoons back.
Yeah.
And because I didn't have any spoons to begin with, I couldn't start the projects to make the spoons.
Yeah.
So I was having trouble through that entire year, and that there was a slump, because I wrote the script for the video before the pandemic started, and I didn't work in it at all until a couple months ago, whenever I had like a burst of, I got my vaccine and I got a burst of spoons to start working on that again. And I kept having to tell myself, this is just temporary. Once things get back to normal, you can go see people. And but that part of me that just always wants to create was there, and always wants to be productive. Felt like down on myself, so I lost more spoons trying to do that.
Yep. Nope, I absolutely get that, and the viewers are going to hear this a bunch of times as I talk about it, but it was part of the reason why I really pushed to launch Doodle Crew, is because I was feeling so isolated, and I'd been a freelance artist before. I'd spent time alone in my apartment working on art, but when the world was closed and I wasn't getting to see or get any other stimulation outside of my, like, I was struggling and I was having trouble finding motivation, and I needed that creative buzz that you get by being around other creative types. And even if it was just knowing that other artists were having the same struggles that I was, so I could get my brain to maybe relax a little bit, like, hey, it's okay. It's okay that you're not as productive as you want to be because we're experiencing something really severe and really traumatic that doesn't make it easy to create art. So for me, I am so grateful to know that I have great artist people in my life, in my world, that I can reach out to, and then, who are willing to come and play with me and make art and be silly and have great conversation, because it does so much to replenish my batteries and make me excited about creating again. And then, even when we're off camera, the conversation that we're having in the Discord and being able to talk to each other and just have that has been huge. So I'm so grateful for you coming on and joining us and bringing that, and just, yeah, it's been awesome. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, but so I also wanted to ask, just because I know I have a little insider information, I know your wife is also a creative. So do you find that is a helpful thing if you are going through something, because you have someone who understands the experience that much more? And are you guys able to kind of help build each other up? Or do you find that sometimes, like, you'll both get low at the same time just for the mood of the house?
Well, I have to say, she has been my biggest inspiration in general. This past year, she has been my source of prompts. She, as starting her career in Twitch, and I say career because she's really taken off with it. She's got a channel with, and she just keeps telling me, I need this banner, I need these emotes, and I'm like, okay, I will get these done for you. And it's really got me in to doing stuff, because not only that, I got because of that, I start getting commissions from other streamers that say, oh, yeah, I like your emotes. Could you make me some emotes? So I'm like, great. So I can do design work for them. People come and want character design work, and I promote myself that way. And it's a way to get myself out there. And it's helped me out.
That's awesome.
To have a creative SO that is empowering and very supportive is what I mean.
No, that's incredible. And I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, we gotta get her on Doodle Crew at some point too, because I'm selfish and I'm just like, I just want to collect all the cool artists and bring everybody. Yeah,
she loves diamond painting. That is her passion right now, and that's what she does for the usually. And she teases herself about it, but one of her community's favorite things that she does is MS Paint drawing, where they will say, tell her to draw something, and this is if a channel points reward or a sub reward. They'll say, draw this on MS Paint with a mouse.
Oh,
and it's like, and it's like exactly what you would think. It's like, okay,
yeah.
And she's, I don't want to say it's a bad, because it looks like what it's supposed to look like, and I think that I would have the same coordination on a mouse at this point.
Oh gosh, so
yeah. I tell her she can use my pad if she wants. She's like, no, the whole point is to be on the mouse. Like, I completely understand because I enjoy watching it too. It's like, if we can get her on here and either do like just MS Paint drawing with us or do her diamond painting while we're talking, that would be cool.
100%. No, I think that'd be awesome. And honestly, as you were saying that, I was like, oh my gosh, we kind of need to do a week where all of us just draw an MS Paint because it levels the playing field.
Oh,
it will humble all of us. No, that would be fantastic. I'm going to put that in the notes because we got to do that because that's just, it's so good. Well, that is amazing. That is awesome. Thank you so much for coming and talking to me. Where can people find you, follow you, support you, get commissions from you, hang out with you and stream, all of that stuff? Where can people find that?
You can find my Instagram at WifflePossum. I plan on doing a little more Twitch at WifflePossum. Because I did that in the past with my drawing streams, but I haven't been very active with it because I've been supporting my wife's Twitch. But you can also find me on Squish Beans on Twitch because on Mondays I'm GMing for my wife's game. It's called Giants in the Sky. It's a Pathfinder game, and it's an adaptation of a adventure path called Giant Slayer. But I'm rewriting it for my own world, so it's just a kind of a backbone of the adventure, where I like take it like it's a canvas where I'm gonna put my own characters in it and just use the XP and encounters from that adventure.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That is so cool. But yeah, definitely anybody who's interested, definitely check out Idaho stuff. It's so fun. And if you have any need of D&D amazingness, definitely hit him up. So, but yeah, thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on Doodle Crew and coming and hanging out and bringing your fun storytelling. Like I said, the D&D episode was so ridiculously fun and it was just so good. So I'm not going to say anymore. I'm going to say anybody watching, go check out the D&D episode, get to see Idaho's amazing creation and him talk super cool detailed stuff about D&D. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming and hanging out and chatting with me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everyone, goodbye.